Hello, I'm Lily from Estonia. I grew up in an orphanage with my brother Joe. He's 2 years older than me, and we're total opposites. But before I continue, please like and subscribe, and you might get a kiss from your true love. My big brother Joe had shiny blonde hair and blue eyes, and he always got all the attention. Look at this gorgeous kid. He's so beautiful. But I was the opposite. I had dark hair and dark brown eyes, and my skin wasn't as fair, and no one ever said I was pretty. They hardly noticed me at all. Joe was tall and outgoing, and everybody liked him. I was short for my age, and the mean girls loved to tease me. Aw, poor Lily. She's just so ugly. How does it feel to be a loser with a perfect brother? But Joe always had my back. Maybe you should learn to respect others. Oh, for you, Joe? I'll learn anything. I'll learn how to respect others, and how to cook and clean. I'll even learn how to give birth. You don't learn how to give birth. You just give birth. I agree. You're right. You're so smart. See, Joe? I learned my lesson. I respected her. Now love me, Joe, please. In school, things weren't much better. Joe was super smart and almost a genius. Joe, that's amazing. A perfect score. I could barely pass my exams, and I had a hard time paying attention in class. Sometimes I talked to the other kids when I wasn't supposed to, and I got out of my seat and I ran around the room, but I couldn't help it. Lily, sit down. Most of the teachers didn't like me at all. One time I was in grumpy old Miss Koppel's class, and I really had to go to the bathroom. The break just ended 2 minutes ago. You couldn't go then? Oh wait, you were busy playing. The only thing you do in school. No bathroom for you. But it's an emergency. Miss Koppel didn't budge. I tried to hold it, but a minute later, I peed my pants. Ew! Joe caught me crying in the hallway. What's wrong? Miss Koppel wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. Joe's face turned bright red, and he stormed into Miss Koppel's class. You stinky witch. Maybe a bitter old lady like you shouldn't be teaching. You should be at home fighting with your husband who's lost his hearing because of your constant screaming and will go blind soon looking at your hideous face. Miss Koppel sent Joe to the principal's office, and he got detention for 2 weeks. I felt so bad. I'm sorry I'm weird and stupid and always causing trouble. Don't say that about yourself, Lily. None of that is true. Yes, it is. You're just pretending it's not. Don't worry about me and my problems. I'll handle them on my own. You don't have to be my big brother anymore. No way. I'll always be your big brother, and I'll always have your back, no matter what. And one day, I hope you'll see how special and smart and beautiful you are. Joe hugged me, and I cried like a big baby. Then one day, the most amazing thing happened. We were adopted by a really nice couple. They had a big house. Joe and I got our own rooms and new clothes. They even enrolled us in a fancy school. I was nervous at first because school was still hard, and I always got distracted. I was scared that my new teachers would hate me too. But then my new parents took me to the doctor. Lily has ADHD, which means she's a bit hyperactive and has trouble paying attention. But she's a smart girl. Her IQ is well above average. I went to therapy for a while to help me learn to stay focused. It was difficult at first, but Joe and my parents were really supportive. And eventually, I got better. I started getting A's on my tests, and I even won Student of the Month for best behavior. When Joe and I reached high school, our lives totally changed. One day, Joe and I were hanging out at the mall when a strange woman ran up to us. Your face is a work of art. Have you ever thought of being a model? Not really. Stick with me, darling. I'm gonna make you a star. The woman was a modeling agent. Joe signed a contract with her, and soon, every other weekend, he was doing photo shoots all over the city. My life was much better too. My grades were at the top of my class, I had a bunch of new friends, and when I looked in the mirror for the first time, I liked what I saw, especially since my mom always told me how pretty I was, and that I should love myself just as I am. I had a newfound confidence, and everyone noticed. Even though Joe and I weren't together all the time, we were still close. We had our own lives, and that was okay. We were always there for each other. Then one day, our dad got a new job, and we moved across town. Another family, twice as rich as my parents, lived next door, and they had a daughter my age. The moment Joe saw her, he started acting strange. He was really dying to meet her. Oh, love at first sight? Something only beautiful people do. Why don't you just go over there and say hello? Just say hello? It's not that easy. It has to be just right. She's my destiny. She's my true love. We're meant to be. We started thinking of ways to make them meet. What made it harder was that she was homeschooled. We saw a lot of sophisticated teachers coming and leaving the house. Joe took one of my shirts and went to her house, pretending he found it in the yard and it belonged to the girl. But a maid opened the door and took it, then slammed the door in Joe's face. One time, I saw the mystery girl leaving her house, and I started calling out random names. Emily, Sarah, Anna, Amber. But she still didn't look up. A couple of weeks passed, and I thought Joe would have moved on, but he was still determined to meet this girl. He hatched a new plan every day, but none of them worked. I needed a break, so I snuck off to the park to sketch. As I was sketching an oak tree, I heard someone walk up behind me. I turned to see a cute boy smiling at me. Those are pretty good. Your shading and detail are amazing. I froze. I'd never shown anyone my drawings before. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. The boy's name was Ryan. He was a couple of years older than me, and he was a talented artist. We talked for hours. Every time he looked into my eyes, my heart skipped a beat. Jeez, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was so late. I have to go. Maybe we could meet up tomorrow and, talk about art? Sorry, I can't. I was such a dork. What was I thinking? Asking a cute boy like Ryan out. He must already have a girlfriend. I wanted to crawl into a hole. It's okay. Sorry I asked. No, it's not like that. I'd love to see you again, but I'm leaving for New York tomorrow for art school. My heart sank. This doesn't have to be goodbye. Ryan pulled out one of his sketches from his notebook. He wrote his phone number on the back and gave it to me. I want you to have it. I can't take this. You can give it back when I see you again. On my walk home, every time I thought about Ryan, I couldn't help but smile. I turned the corner onto my street, and then I saw something insane. The mystery girl was scaling the side of her house like a cat burglar. I hid behind a tree and texted Joe, but then the girl came charging at me like a maniac. She tried to grab my phone. Give it to me. Let go, you crazy girl. My phone slipped out of my hand, fell to the ground, and broke. I was so mad. I turned to yell at her, but then she started bawling like a big baby. I'm sorry about your phone. I just didn't know what to do. Her name was Sophia, and her parents made her break up with her boyfriend because he was poor. They won't let me see him or talk to him. My heart's been ripped to pieces. It hurts so bad. Please, make it stop. Don't cry. Things will be okay. How? Thankfully, Joe walked up just then. Sophia took one look at him and got all googly-eyed. Then she got confused. I can't do this. Sophia pushed Joe and ran away crying. The next day, Sophia showed up at her door. What I did to you wasn't cool. I was having a hard time. If you don't mind me asking, what's wrong? Well, I'm broken. Excuse me. If I could just squeeze past you. Each time life smiles at me, bad things happen shortly after. I fell in love with our gardener's son. It was a secret because I knew my parents would never approve. I don't know how, but they found out and things got really bad. I'm so sorry. If you could just step to the side a bit, I could get out of your way, and they fired him and his father and forced me to break up with him. Then they took my phone and homeschooled me for a while. My dad is an important politician, and he can't risk his reputation. And now, every morning, I wake up in a puddle of tears. That's so sad. Yes, very sad. I've got an idea. Why don't you two be friends? It might make you both feel better. Over the next few months, Joe and Sophia started getting closer, and so did our parents. Joe started dressing in expensive clothes, buying Sophia fancy gifts, and he'd brag to Sophia and her parents about how much money he made modeling. Once, Sophia's parents invited us for dinner.
Oh, neighbors, you have such a strong, confident, independent young man. I bet girls are fighting over him all the time.
Yes, but I have eyes only for one girl. As Joe looked at Sophia and she blushed, everyone noticed the two and smiled. Oh, this is wonderful. We've been so worried about Sophia. I'm so happy she's found someone like you. We had to protect her, you know. She was tricked and manipulated by a dirty, poor boy that stole her heart.
Ugh, poor people. You can't trust any of them. They're all liars and cheats.
That's not true.
Oh, you sweet, naive girl. You'll learn soon enough.
Then Sophia's parents laughed at me, like what I said was some big joke. I'm not naive. You're just wrong. Joe and I used to be poor. We're not liars and cheats. We're not dirty, and we're not bad people.
Joe's an exception, of course. Who knew an adopted orphan could be so perfect? You guys hit the jackpot with your son. Your daughter, well, she's no Sophia.
You're right about that, honey. Joe lowered his head. My parents looked away, and I was about to explode. What's that supposed to mean? Thank you for the meal. We must get going. When we got home, my parents sat me and Joe down for a talk.
Joe, we don't want you seeing Sophia anymore.
No, that's not happening. I love her. You can't tell me what to do. Stop yelling at Dad. Son, what her parents said about your sister is unacceptable. They were just joking. They're really nice once you get to know them. Are you blind? Sophia's parents are jerks, and ever since you've been hanging out with them, you've changed. If I have to impress Sophia's parents to get their blessing, then I'll do it. True love is worth it, but you wouldn't know anything about love. You've never had a boyfriend, and you look like you sleep in a trash can. Don't talk to your sister like that. That's enough. No more Sophia, and that's final. Then Joe got mad and shoved Dad. Dad fell and hit his head hard on the table. Dad! I rushed to Dad's side. He was really hurt. Mom called the ambulance. Then I looked up and saw Joe. I'm sorry. Joe ran out of the house. Dad had a minor concussion, and we spent the night in the emergency room. By the time we got back home, all of Joe's things were gone. We heard from the neighbors that he and Sophia moved into her parents' villa in Paris. Dad was weak after the injury, so I helped him out at the office. Staying on top of my schoolwork and helping Dad was tough, but I enjoyed spending more time with him. My parents and I tried calling Joe, but he never answered, which made me really sad. My new friend Ryan always found ways to cheer me up. He sent me funny sketches and MSA videos. One summer, he came back to town and we sat under the oak tree. We saw a boy and a girl playing on the swings, and I started to cry.
What's wrong?
I miss my brother. He was my best friend and always had my back. I'm scared I'll never see him again.
He's your brother, and he could never stop loving you. I'm sure he'll come back to you one day.
Then Ryan handed me a sketchbook and I drew a picture of me and Joe. Ryan encouraged me to study art, and eventually I started selling my drawings. 5 years later, we got married in a small ceremony in our backyard, and soon after, we had a baby. But there were complications. I felt this horrible pain, and the machine started to beep. As the doctors raced to save me, I cried out, "Joe, my brother, Joe, come to me." Then I fainted. I woke up from a coma 2 days later, and when I opened my eyes, I saw Joe and Sophia sitting beside me with tears in their eyes. Joe? Yes, Lily. Is that you? Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, Lily. I'm so sorry for everything. I looked up at my parents. They smiled and nodded. I knew from the look in their eyes that they'd forgiven Joe and wanted me to do the same. You broke our promise. You said you'd always have my back, but you chose Sophia and her parents over us. My parents are just mean and have been controlling my life since forever. We had enough and we couldn't take it anymore, so we left and they cut us off. But it's been so hard. I couldn't find work. We barely had enough money for food and rent, but I was ashamed to come back and ask for help. We felt like we broke your family. We didn't want to make things worse. Then we heard you were in a coma, so we came immediately. I couldn't let you down again. Lily, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to let me earn the privilege to be your big brother again. You'll always be my big brother. I just wanted to see you. I would have helped you no matter what. Then Joe hugged me and I hugged him back. Hi everyone, I'm Lexi. Like and subscribe to get the gift you've been wishing for. Growing up, my parents were always super supportive of me and gave me everything I ever wanted. Even though they were self-made millionaires, they still made sure I understood the importance of hard work. But I was kinda bad with money. I had a spending problem, not on myself, only on my friends. I loved to treat my friends with nice things, like picking up the tab at restaurants, and they'd always act so grateful. Little did I know, their niceness was all because of my money. But it all came crashing down one day, and that's when I saw their true faces. When I was 13, my friends asked me to keep watch outside the library, and 10 minutes later, there were loud noises. All of them ran, and I was caught with a bag that had a bunch of firecrackers in it. But I didn't do anything, I swear. Believe me. She got tricked again? She's so dumb. I'm standing right here. Miss Cole, please. But none of it worked, and I was sent to detention for an entire week. At first, I was keeping to myself in detention because the kids were all mean. But one day, I was doing my homework when I heard a voice. It was the kid who usually sat there. You have to do it this way. Here. Oh, thank you. You look familiar. Do we know each other? Wow, we're in all the same classes. I'm Zach. Never mind. Sorry, I've been so busy with my friends that I haven't had the chance to meet anyone new. It's fine. Heard they threw you under the bus again. Listen, you've always seemed like a nice girl, despite how naive you are. And Lexi, your money's the only thing your friends care about. Don't be fooled by them again, just because they act all nice to your face. They're barely even nice to my face anymore, to be honest. If they were, I wouldn't be here in detention. That evening, I thought about what Zach had said, and I had to admit, he was right. During that week of detention, Zach and I became friends. That was almost 3 years ago, and our friendship has only grown stronger since. A couple of months before high school, Zach had a major glow up, and all of a sudden, everyone wanted to be my friend for a whole new reason. But for me, he was just Zach, my best friend. I realized the reason I liked Zach so much was because I felt so comfortable around him, and he was so kind to me. Unlike my old friends, he didn't care about money and always split the bill when we went out. He also never let me buy him expensive gifts. He didn't see me as the rich Lexi, but as Lexi, a bro of his. Oh, what a weirdo. Zach was such an amazing friend, but little did I know that one day, he would be the one to turn my world upside down. Once, when I got the highest grades in 10th grade, Zach threw me a surprise party with my parents. It was totally awesome. So many huge celebrities were invited, including Iris. I loved her. The party was a blast, and I had an amazing time. Can this day get any better? Turns out, no, it couldn't, but it could get weirder. I was in for the biggest plot twist of my life, like the twist at the end of the movie The Sixth Sense. As I was walking up to my room after seeing off my friends, I heard my parents arguing, which was really weird because they hardly ever fought. No, we can't tell her. What if she leaves? She's my baby. But she has a right to know. We should have given her the letter when she was younger, but we kept putting it off. We can't keep her in the dark forever. It's time. She should know about her real family. Mom? Dad? What are you talking about? Honey, we can explain. Before they could stop me, I snatched the letter off the table, and then my entire world crumbled. Is this real? I'm not your daughter? Of course you're our daughter. You'll always be our baby girl. But it is true that we are not your biological parents. How could you keep this from me? Lexi, we're sorry. This is not how you were supposed to find out. We wanted to tell you sooner, but your mom, birth mom, left that note when she left you and your brother at the orphanage. Brother? I have a freaking brother? What else haven't you told me? Sweetie, please, calm down. You look pale. I think I need to lie down. That was a lot of information for me to take in. 16 years of me living here, and I find out now that I was adopted and have a twin brother who was adopted by another family? I was furious at my parents and refused to talk to them for weeks. When Zach tried to force me to talk to them, I told him everything. How could they do this? You're angry right now, but you have to remember, your parents never let you feel like you weren't their own. The love they have for you, it's real, no matter what it says on a piece of paper. When you calm down, you'll realize how lucky you are. Not everyone is this lucky, Lexi. I know I would give anything to have a family like yours. That made me feel sad for Zach. His parents had split when he was 10, and it had been just his mom and him ever since. And I realized Zach was right. I forgot how much my parents actually loved and cared for me. I rushed to them and apologized. I was determined to find my brother. From the letter, I knew his first name was Mark. I just needed a last name. So I called the orphanage every day to ask for my brother's last name, but they didn't budge. I even asked my dad to make a big donation. Might as well use all this money for some good, but it didn't work. Looks like money can't buy everything, huh? Zach then had the most brilliant idea. He suggested we both volunteer at the orphanage and snoop around for the details. Oh my god, I love you. And your amazing brain. Sorry. Volunteering gave me a new perspective. All these little kids without parents, I was just like them when I was their age. I hoped they'd be lucky enough to find great parents like I did. Of course, I didn't let that distract me from my mission. After a couple of days, I found my way to the file cabinet and searched, jotting down all the last names of every Mark that had ever stayed there. But trying to contact each of these Marks was more tiring than I thought it would be. Most of them thought I was trying to scam them. It wasn't until Zach pointed out that I realized I could just look for the date of birth for each of these guys, cause duh, we were twins. I know, you don't have to say it. Zach, oh my god, there's 2 of them. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna contact the families right now.
Lexi, wait, take a deep breath. You don't want to just call them and drop the news, hey, I might be your twin. How about you let me do it? I'll look into it, and before you know it, Mark will show up.
I agreed with him, but I couldn't help feeling anxious for days. What if Mark is in another part of the world? What if he has no idea I even exist? Or worse, what if he hates me? I couldn't eat or sleep properly because the entire thing stressed me out. My parents were sweethearts, though. They tried to calm me down and distract me when we suddenly heard the doorbell. I rushed to open it, only to find Zach standing there with a confused look. Did you find Mark?
I'm still looking, but this guy showed up. Are you Lexi? Wow, it's so crazy to finally meet you. You look just like I expected. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm Mark, your twin brother.
What? I couldn't believe my eyes. My twin, my own brother, was standing here in front of me. I cried and hugged him. You know those heartwarming reunion videos on YouTube? Never thought I'd be one of those people. We had the same hair color, the same eye color. We even laughed the same. But he was much taller and had an English accent. Turns out his adopted family had taken him to the UK, and he came all the way from there to look for me. He showed me the adoption certificate.
My parents told me the truth a year ago, and since then, I've been trying to find you. And a couple of weeks ago, I finally got your address and had to come right away. I had to see my sister. Look, I even have the birth certificate and my adoption papers from the orphanage.
Oh, I'm so glad. You have no idea how much I've looked for you. Mark stayed with us for a couple of weeks, and we did our best to make him feel at home. I showed him around my school, got along with Zach, and best of all, I got to introduce someone as cool as him as my brother. All the girls at school were even drooling over him. It was probably because of the accent. He told me all about his life, the UK, and his projects and fundraisers that he started in order to help as many people as he can. He was like the perfect brother. I was so caught up spending time with Mark that I was losing touch with Zach. Whenever Mark wasn't hanging out with me, he was with Zach. It was like they were long-lost twins, honestly. Zach was always asking Mark questions, and my brother seemed to enjoy talking to him. Are you in love with my brother?
What? No, why?
You keep following him around like a lovesick puppy. What's going on?
It's nothing like that. It's just something doesn't smell right about him.
Is that jealousy I'm detecting? Don't worry, Zach. There's one girl always on your side. Me, your best friend.
No thanks. But seriously though, something's off.
I know, I've kind of been MIA. I've just been trying to make up for lost time with my brother. But don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you, Zach. But Zach continued to follow Mark more than usual, even at home. One day, I caught him snooping around Mark's stuff, and I confronted him, asking why he was so obsessed with him.
Because I don't trust him. I don't want you getting hurt.
Zach, I finally have my brother after years. If you care about me, just let this go, please.
But I'm not lying.
Over the next few days, Zach stopped coming over, and Mark and I spent more time catching up. It was stressful fighting with my best friend, but at least I was having fun with my brother. We went out to fancy restaurants and on expensive shopping trips. Mark offered to pay, but I insisted every time. I was so happy to finally have him in my life that I figured buying him nice things was the least I could do. Well, he was always talking about the fancy cars in our garage, walked in and out of Dad's walk-in closet, and was so excited to see his watch collection. Apparently, he was a huge fan of fancy watches. And weirdly, he knew the price of everything. Like once he saw a painting by a famous artist at home and told me he could guess the exact price. And he did. I did find it a little weird, but I was just focusing on the part that I had my brother back. A couple of days later, as I was relaxing and enjoying my weekend, Zach stormed into the house. Before anyone could process what was happening, Zach punched Mark, and the two boys were in a full-blown fight. It took all of Dad's strength to pull Zach off of Mark. What is wrong with you? Have you completely lost it?
Lexi, you're not Lexi's brother, Mark. You're a con artist, and I have proof. Look, he's been doing this to a bunch of rich families. He finds families that have a missing son or brother and pretends to be them, just to scam them and use all their money. Someone from the orphanage tipped him off about you, and he jumped on the chance to scam you. That is nonsense. I am your real brother, Lexi. Believe me, he's just trying to get your money. Oh, that's rich coming from you.
Both of you, shut up! Zach, you're unbelievable. I asked you to let this go.
For the last time, he is not your brother. I am.
Of course you are. You're not just my best friend, Zach, but I also see you as a brother figure. But you're obsessed with Mark. This has to stop. Please.
I meant your real, biological twin brother. That's me, not him. I know it sounds insane, but
It does sound insane. This has gone too far now. I just can't.
Lexi, you're my best friend. You have to believe me. You know I wouldn't lie about something like this. The day you showed me the names of the adoptive parents, I was shocked because my dad's name was there. Henry Duckstein. That was the name of my adoptive dad. After my parents divorced, I took my mom's last name.
Yes, last name. The paper said my brother's name was Mark.
Exactly. This man is an imposter.
Shut up!
My adoptive parents named me Zach. I confirmed with mom too. That's when things started to shape up, but I didn't want to get my hopes up until I had proof.
And did you find proof?
Got a DNA test done. It's a match. Lexi, you're my twin sister. The moment I got this report, I came here right away.
I felt like my mind was racing. It was a lot to take in. Why? How could you? I trusted you.
Come on.
Before the jerk could spew more lies, I gave him a tight slap that definitely rang his ear. He looked like he was about to run away, but then Zach and my dad tackled him. Moments later, police were at the door. Zach had reported this imposter Mark before coming over. He was arrested, and I was left too shocked to understand what the heck just happened. It took me a couple of days. Okay, I'm lying. It took me a couple of weeks to come to terms with the reality, and once my head was clear, I went straight to Zach's, my brother's place. And the moment he opened the door, I hugged him tight. I can't believe I was so blind. I'm sorry for not listening to you. I love you, Zach. You're the best brother, best friend, best everything a girl could ever ask for.
It's all good, Lexi. I'm always here for you, no matter what. I mean it.
Brother and sister share a strong bond. When they're together, they can win any battle.